I'm coming, Victoria! Don't worry, stay there! Here, doggy, fetch!
I've been looking for you everywhere. I thought you'd missed the arrival
What arrival?
of old Deuteronomy.
Warning. This show is intended for a mature audience only and may contain harsh language, sexual references, and derogatory terms. Listener discretion is advised.
Would you look at that? It's that time of week again, everyone. For another episode of Terrible Tuesday Movie Night. Season 2, episode 11. This is the penultimate, and I say ultimate, not lightly, episode of Terrible Tuesday Movie Night. Watching bad movies so you don't have to. I'm your host, Dale Campbell. Thank you so much for joining me. This week, I'm sharing this movie with a very special guest, friend of mine and friend of the Terrible Tuesday Movie Night show. We've got Rachel Kimberly joining us. Woo!
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rachel. It's a pleasure to have you here. We haven't podcasted together in a long time.
Oh God! I think I was pregnant with Grayson, who's now 4.
Oh my God! Jeez. Well, time flies when you're having
In
fun.
a hot minute. We've been a little busy.
We've been a little busy.
The world shut down for a couple of years. And
Yeah, and I'm getting married now, so there you go. That's my fiance wasn't even a blimp on my radar at the time, so life changes.
Which I was not invited, but I won't be bitter like my husband. It's okay.
Which will be okay because the wedding would have gone and passed by the time this episode airs, probably. So that'll be. Watch this come out.
So when is the official date? Because I have to know.
The official date is / maybe. No, not maybe. God, I hope it's not maybe. Hope I don't get left to the altar. That would be amazing. Could you imagine that being a YouTube video? Anyway, God, that's a grim start to the episode. July 29th, 2023. I only say the year because, again, I don't know when this is coming out.
So exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it's definitely something we're looking forward to, and yeah, there you go. Well, we're not getting married today. Oh wait, well, we might. You never know. This episode might go off the rails. We are sharing with each other the 2019 cult classic, Cats. Can I call it a cult classic if it's only been a couple of years?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, anything can be a cult classic, right?
The original, yes, because there are, like, if you go by the not theatrical releases, but the actual theater productions, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
The first movie release was kind of because they took everything straight from the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
This one was a little,
It was an interpretation. Yeah. We'll get to that in a moment. However, we're going to do the Terrible Tuesday Movie Night segment that you've all come to know and love, which is sadly coming to an end soon. Unfortunately, playing a very video trailer on an audio podcast. Woo! If I can find my button. There's my button. Woo! Woo! Volume.
I haven't seen you before, have I?
Open up and tell me if you find there the meaning of what happiness is. Then a new life begins.
We're about to begin.
Here we go!
Are you going to try for a different life?
A new day has begun.
Alrighty. So I think because this is the thing from this bit. Just imagine text flying everywhere on the screen at the same time.
And that's exactly all it is. It's like gratuitous text. That's it.
Gratuitous
Pretty
text.
pictures, pretty people, pretty
Imagine
cats.
Pretty pussies. No, I'm just kidding. I had to make that
I mean,
joke.
some of them are. Some of them I can, yes.
Some of them you can meow. Let's see the competition. Who's got on their bingo card? This movie goes into sexual innuendo. Let's cross that off your bingo card. Now, first impressions of this movie before heading in. Rachel, what was your first impressions prior to watching this movie?
So, I am a theater geek, as you've known for years. So, loving the original Cats and the 1990s, I want to say, version that was put out, I was a little apprehensive and a lot nervous.
Yeah, that's understandable. I can see that.
Mostly because there's two names that are in this that I'm like, I love this person, I hate this person.
I think I can narrow
There's
it
like
down.
two sets, there's a set of each.
And look, and yeah, this movie is definitely. Before going in, I've seen a version of Cats. It's not the original Broadway movie, but our local theatre company recreated it. And I did, but when I was researching for this episode, I was reflecting on that, and I went, "Hang on a sec, that's not a cut and copy of the original Cats. They've also done a rendition
No.
inspired of Cats." As well, when they
Like,
brought it
they
to our town.
they gender swapped Old Deuteronomy, which honestly I'm okay with because I really love Judi Dench.
Right, and it's fitting. It was fitting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just worked.
Yeah.
You didn't look at it and go, "Ooh, well,
And
this is male kid."
at first it was like, wait a minute, why did they switch it to a woman? Like, oh wait, that's who they put there. Okay, I'll give that
makes sense.
a pass.
Yeah, and look, when
But
the Cats
I
was
don't
showing-
recall the character Victoria ever being in the original one.
But it makes sense. I think
But
Victoria.
it gave a focal point.
It gave a focal. Well, I don't want to say Victoria carried the movie because, well, she kind of did in a lot of ways. She was the plot. She was the plot essentially.
Yeah.
Well, she was the plot device.
She
moved
was
the
what
food-
actually
yeah.
explained it. She gave them a reason to have to explain the Jellicles' reason for being there.
And our theatre production version of it when it came to town had a Victoria-like character as well. had that sort of. This was, oh god, what year was that? 2007, I want to say. I saw it, so I don't remember too much of it. Yeah, I know. Ugh. that was a long time.
We're feeling old now.
I know. I was still in high school. It was great. But yeah, no.
At that point, I wasn't.
Well, yeah, it's not about that. The point.
Oh, and the original was when the original movie was 1998.
1998. There you go. But yeah, when they brought it to town, they made changes too, but they made changes like this that made sense. You know, they kind of had to have a plot device because again, it was still a stage show. It wasn't a movie, but they decided to add a plot driver to drive the play.
Oh, Victoria was part of it. Okay.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't remember that. It's been
Yeah.
it was a hot minute.
I also think that, well, I obviously thought that too because I thought they added Victoria because I don't remember that ever.
Yeah, she's the pure white cat that just shows up there at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah, there you go. Alrighty, well, we'll get into more of that in a moment. Let's get through the boring stuff. Ugh, the stuff that my legal team advised me that I have to talk about. This movie was released December 19th, 2019. Tom Hooper directed. He's done a lot of stuff like this. He did Les Mis, didn't he? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I'm going to check that because I think he did.
Let's have a look.
I didn't realize he was British Australian.
Yes. Oh, he did The King's Speech. I love that movie. Can I watch that movie now? Yes, he did.
Danish Girl, King's Speech. He did Les Mis, yes.
Yeah. Holy, I pulled that out of nowhere. Look at the guy. Yeah. So he's been in around this scene, which I think is a good thing. A lot of times, just spoiler alert, I'm positive about this movie, which makes a nice change on this show. As you can clearly tell. So it's not like they got some random person.
A movie that you're not going to be thrashing for a whole hour?
Oh, great! My favourite. You mean I'm not going to sit here as a white man and talk about racism this show, or on a previous episode, a white person talking about how they shouldn't have made a black movie? Mm-hmm. That was a fun episode too. Can't wait for that one to come out.
Oh, Lord. I guess I've got to go back and listen to that, sir.
Yeah, well, yeah. That'll be out before this one, so there you go. Enjoy that.
Okay.
So, we've got Robbie Fairchild. I'm not going to pronounce that. That's my thing. Just some of the few people. This cast is huge, by the way. This has a huge cast in it.
It is huge, and it has some major names. Like, when I first heard they were doing it, and I heard, like, Grisabella the Glamour Cat being Jennifer Hudson, I was like, seriously?
This movie,
like,
I will
you're
say...
taking a beautiful woman and making her a rundown, ragged, kind of trashy looking, like, at the end of her days. Why are you doing that to her?
But, yeah, it's... Yeah. For me, this is a tale of two casts in my world. You've got the celebrity cast, which is what they used for advertising, because of course they need to sell tickets. Mm-hmm. That's marketing 101. And then you've got the quote-unquote theatre-driven cast. And then you've got the dancers and stuff like that as well. So you've got the not necessarily the backbone cast, because some of the celebrities like Judi Dench and Jennifer Hudson are important to the movie as well. Don't get me wrong. But
you got to admit, like, Jason Derulo was another one.
Unnecessary.
Because he was really coming out into the music scene at this time.
That's true. You've got Rebel Wilson and James Corden, who, I will say this, they were doing their own movie, and it was called Saturday Night Cats, where they were pretending to do skits of the movie Cats.
Well, see, Rebel Wilson in this was the fat girl poking fun at the fact that she's fat, and she's literally a fat cat in this one. When she started eating the cockroaches, I was like, I'm done. I can't. Like, you made the mice sing and dance and behave, and you ate them, cool, but then you started eating cockroaches that were marching in Nazi straight lines. I'm not okay with this anymore.
Which, by the way, had human faces. I think that's also the key thing.
All of them were different. All of them were different. That's the bad thing.
That was the great thing. We've thrown the format out the window. We're just chatting about this movie now. I'll deal with the people. I'll deal with the backlash momentarily. So this is Cats. Welcome to Cats. This is a story about cats where cats live in cat suits and they cat around all over the cat place. Which is this movie?
Pretty much.
Yeah. This movie.
It's supposed to be them kind of getting at the end of their 9 lives. They come back as another cat and have a better life.
Yes.
Is what's supposed to happen.
Yes. They go to cat heaven and then they eat some catnip and then they get an extra life. Like in Mario,
yeah.
Right? I'm just kidding. In my head, I've watched this twice now, by the way, and for some reason
this is actually, I think, the 3rd time.
Ah, nice. There you go. I think when the ending scene with her going up in the hot air balloon, and the whole
not going there.
The whole time I was listening to for some reason in my head canon, just having fun with it. But yeah, Rebel Wilson. I mean, my one problem with this movie. I do have a few problems with this movie. But my main character-driven problem is James Corden. Could you not get literally anyone else? Like, was he the only thing around? Like, you couldn't get anyone, even if it was not an unknown actor, that's harsh, but a lesser-known actor to play his role? Or maybe even
No, because they needed more people to be able to be like, look, we've got all the stars in here.
Yeah, that's true. And for a Christmas movie, by the way, Cats is a Christmas movie. I will hear no contrary to the belief. This is a Christmas movie.
That's when I usually watch it. I won't lie. My children hate the fact that I do that, but that's okay.
That's okay. I might add this into the rotation. I'm not gonna lie. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's a solid movie. I'm trying to figure out though. From the other hand, I can see why people panned it. I can understand where people are coming from. Unfortunately,
because some of it was just gratuitous and unnecessary.
A lot of it was.
And it had already been brought out. Like, I can tell you, the people that were, like, PO'd about this are the die-hard theater people that are like, you didn't need to change this. It was already put out in 1998. You didn't need another version of it. You literally put it out because you wanted these big names and you figured you'd make bank.
Which, again, spoiler to those people, that's what Hollywood is now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a new Fast and Furious movie that's playing alongside, a sensual... We've had a Super Mario Brothers movie as well, and we've got another one, so... I mean, it's completely different.
We've got a new Super Mario Brothers, the 10th Fast and Furious, and now we have a new Little Mermaid, which I won't go there. Loved it, just saying.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. Well, yeah, but
won't say that I cried through about half of it, but that's okay.
Well, that's fine. But you know what I mean? We've got a new Aladdin. We've got a new Little Mermaid. We've got new properties that are, we just mentioned Disney movies because we're both Disney... Well, I'm a former Walt Disney... full disclaimer, I'm a former Walt Disney company employee. But that aside, this is what Hollywood is doing. Hollywood are retelling classic stories because it makes them money. Like, these are businesses at the end of the day. I've used a supermarket analogy. It's like you getting upset that a supermarket is charging $5 for the price of eggs when it only costs them $2 to make. I mean, someone has to make money somewhere to then pay their way of living and stuff like that. Anywho, that's besides the point. It makes them money, and
but it's true.
It gets audiences re-engaged with stories they may have forgotten about. And I forgot about Cats, and I'm glad that I remember it now. I don't know about you, but I felt watching this gave me Hairspray vibes. Watching Hairspray the movie.
Yes.
I mean, Hairspray,
and it's the same kind of feel through it. It didn't need to happen. But they had fun with it. But they did tweak a couple things. They added a few little things that I noticed were different. They took away a few things, like they changed Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. They changed their stuff. I'm not happy with that.
Right. But all in all, the overall thing is, and Hairspray is a more fast-paced movie. This movie, my main concern with this movie is that it's a very slow movie. It is slow, which is more in line with the original, I think, isn't it? Isn't the original Cats a slow production anyway?
Kind of a slow burn.
Yeah, it's a slow burn, which it's in line with the source material. It's not like they're making an hour and 15-minute Benny Hill style version of Cats.
No, it's a 2-hour play to begin with.
Yeah, so they're still keeping in line with that, which I would much rather them doing, like, keeping to the original structure of it. Oh, Rachel just sent me a photo. That's adorable. I'm wearing...
Yeah, you're talking about Disney stuff, and I'm sitting here wearing Mickey ears, painting the house today, and they're still on my head, so yes.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and we've got Disney things at the wedding, so it's, you know, we're Disney people. Get over it. But what I would say is, you know, I'm glad that they did keep it in line, but as an objective watcher of this movie, it is slow, which was most of the criticism as well, which I do take points away from this being a slow movie, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
which is fair.
It's gorgeous too, don't get me wrong. They've spent a lot of money on making sure that the movie looks beautiful. And
the scenery that they did, the way that they set it up, the transitions that they did from one cat to the next with their songs.
Yeah. I could have done without the
little
talking,
side notes of... the one comment that gets me that I actually caught last night watching it was that they're talking about Mistopheles.
Mistopheles, yeah.
And one of the other cats goes, "Is he neutered?" And Rebel Wilson's character looks down at the cat next to her crotch, and I about fell over. I'm like, oh my god, I missed that the last time. Like, she straight up does a one over of him and just stops right at the most appropriate place, and I was like, oh damn.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's address the big cat in the room. I was going to say elephant, but cat's more relevant. What are your thoughts on the costumes?
They aren't far off from the normal Broadway productions or stage productions.
Because I saw the negative
free-moving tails were a little creepy.
That is very creepy. But
I had and there's one scene that it looks like there's two cats, but there's only one cat on the screen, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know how to feel about this.
Because of the tails. I'm like, oh god. But yeah, that's another one of the hatred too, is the costumes are weird. I went, well, they're gonna make them the whole point is to make the cats look as human as possible.
Yes.
They're not trying to make...
But at the same token, how many people really want to see live cats running around?
Oh god, could you imagine? Oh my god, the hatred this movie...
My daughter would lose her mind. She would be happier than a pig in you-know-what.
A cat in you-know-what.
But you kind of go... Huh.
You kind of go, I mean, again, like, what would you prefer... them have lumps of fur on them? Again, the amount of hatred that this movie would have gotten on that end of the spectrum too. So I think finding a balance in any movie is difficult, let alone this movie. So
I mean, they complained about the 1998 version because they had the 1970s pro thing going on for the cat.
Which I suppose.
And they're complaining about this one because it's not enough hair, and it's not enough fist, and it's not enough that. It's like, you can't have it both ways, kids.
No, you can't have it both ways. Again, you're not gonna please everyone, and this is about art. And I've mentioned before, art is subjective. We're two people that enjoyed this, and it's okay if you didn't. That's not. We're just providing feedback on why we enjoyed this. Well, I'm assuming. Did you enjoy this movie, Rachel? I shouldn't have put words in your mouth.
I won't lie, I didn't want to, because like I said, there are a couple characters, one of them unfortunately being Rebel Wilson, because she literally takes it as the fat girl poking fat jokes at herself the whole time, in cat form. And then I've got Idris Elba that I'm sort of going, he's got really cool eyes.
He's dreamy, which...
And then James Corden comes out, and I'm like, I just want to hit you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's a bad person. He's just not the person that should be Buster Jones.
I disagree. I think he's a bad person. He's a bad person. I shouldn't be there.
When you put it, yes, he's a pretentious, nose up in the air. And I don't think he's like that in real life. He just comes off like that. That works perfectly. Again, it's that whole poking fun at the whole fat thing. So that's always bothered me.
And yeah, it's because there are, and I've talked about this about queer characters in particular, and people have written to me in angry emails about this, but I will not be swayed to not have the following opinion: is you can be similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. You can be a queer person or you can be a fat person, but that's not your personality. You can have more dynamic features than... You can be a queer person that plays baseball and has 2 kids at home with a former wife. That's a personality. But when you throw, I'm gay, and keep saying it for 90 minutes, not that they did in this movie, but you can have more of a personality. And I've faulted a movie on that, and people are like, you hate queer people. And I went, well, if that's your opinion of me, then that's fine.
Like, okay, some of your listeners, if they've ever heard me talk on this podcast, know that I am 6 feet tall. I used to be extremely heavy. I'm not anymore. It's been a long road. I used to be the fat friend who had to poke fun at herself so I could be accepted into the groups. When I see other people doing that just to gain acceptance, whether it's in a movie or in real life, your size does not define you. And the fact that they put that there as the biggest definition of who they are just irks the hell out of me.
Because people will look at that and idolize that, because they go, oh, my favorite, someone out there has to have have James Corden be their favorite comedian. It's statistically likely. Or Rebel Wilson, for that matter, because Rebel Wilson's a nicer person in some aspects. And she's Australian, so I have to defend her. No, not really. But they're like people idolize celebrities. That's their role. And they look up to these people and they go, oh, I want to be just like them. You know, it's no different than an unknown firefighter. People see a firefighter and go, I want to be like a firefighter because they have attributes that I look towards. But it's unfortunate that does, like you said, that does rub off on people. And I advise people, even in my real life, you know, they come up to me and go, I just want you to know that I'm gay. And I went, that's nice, but who are you? Oh, well, I'm gay. And I went, but you are? Yes, and. I yes and a lot of people. Yes, and. They're like,
what else are you? Because that is literally like, okay, are you a gay gelatinous blob?
And that's
Tell me more.
That's okay if you are. But you know, it's.
I mean, if you are, more power to you. It's Pride Month. We're gonna roll with it. But you know, there's got to be more than just I'm gay.
But I think the gay
or
thing
I'm the
is,
fat friend.
I think. Well, actually, in both cases, there's a lot of. I'm not saying that this is your journey, but this is someone else I know in my life's journey. Is they have to internalize that acceptance. They don't think about anything else.
Yeah.
They don't think about, oh, I'm a friendly person. I like talking to people, and yeah, that's a personality. In a way, it's a start.
I mean, you've seen that happen in my real world or my world too, because it took a while for everybody in my world to accept this is who I am, this is how I am.
Yeah.
So everyone goes through that struggle at some point. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But it gets old to me.
But that's the thing. I don't get it. I'm privileged, I will say. Yes, I've had to deal with a lot of hateful comments in my time, but I've brushed them off in various degrees of success. But I've never had to have that moment of internalized acceptance because it's always just been there. And it's I would imagine it'd be hard for someone to go through that, and I think that's why I have that mentality of, all right, well, who's Like, yeah, you're gay, yeah, and so am I. Like, what? And I'm this and I'm that. Like, what? Who are you? Oh, but I'm gay. I'm like,
Yeah.
And? So I've lived a very privileged lifestyle in comparison to some people. But anyway, the movie Cats. Taylor Swift is in this movie. She's singing. She's doing her singing
For like
thing.
one song.
She's in here for 4.5 seconds and half the end credits. But
Is it that long?
I think so. I don't. Well, it's one song. No, 2 songs. One song in the ending credits. I will say. I think she's got one song in the.
That's
ending
why. Okay.
credits. Yeah. But this is a sneaky part on whoever did the marketing for this. They gave her billing on the poster. You know what I mean? That's. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me. They literally were using certain names just to get people to come in.
Yeah, I don't like that. Which is unfortunate. I don't like that, he says, having a marketing degree. But I understand it. But yeah. What else is there to say? It's a rendition of Cats. What is... This movie also resonated with me too, in a lot of different ways, because I'm sort of on... I don't want to say I'm on the Cats journey at the moment. But there are a lot of things, like I'm growing as an adult, you know. I now own a house for the first time in my life. I'm soon to be, at the time of the recording, to be married. That's a big life step. I've quit my full-time day job. I still have a night job, but I've left a toxic work environment. I made that conscious effort to do that. So, you know, I'm growing as an adult, and this sort of just also hit me at the right time that I'm going through a lot of this stuff as well. And movies do that as well. You kind of identify, oh look, this is my life as well. So this movie just resonated with me on a lot of different levels. So
I mean,
yeah.
It really is a matter of growing, because they go through the changes that these cats have gone through. Like, the ongoing question is, well, why do you want a new life?
That sent me. Them saying, why do you want
You
a
need
new
to get.
life?
I need to get out of this kitchen.
Sent me.
That one hits me the hardest. Well, and then Grisabella, they never even ask her why, and she's been through some just saying.
Yeah.
And then you have, I can see it, Magneto. What the hell's his name? Sorry. Why can't I think of his name? And he's just like enters in halfway, and I'm like, when did you get here, sir?
You are who exactly?
And he's singing with Grisabella and Old Deuteronomy, and I'm like, I'm very confused. But they don't ask him why he wants a new life.
Yeah. Is it bad that I thought Laurie Davidson was Brendan Urie for a little bit of this movie?
Sure.
Why not? But Mr. Mistopheles, I identify with him the most. Like, he's just that main character energy that's trying to find himself.
Yes.
So that's me. And I don't want to be a magician. No, thank you. That would be hard. That would be a hard gig.
But I think you'd look fabulous in the top hat, so it's okay.
That's fine. That's exactly fine. So, any final words on this movie, Rachel, before we wrap up?
If you're gonna sit down and watch it, just go in with an open mind. If you go in with pretenses, you're not going to enjoy it.
That's fair. I think if you don't know anything about cats, don't research it. It's fine. You'll get everything you need to know about cats from this movie. Don't research it, because then you'll taint yourself.
And if you're crazy cat lady, watch it. Watching, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, you get cats for an hour and 47 minutes. You'll be alright. Alright, Rachel. Well,
Have your cats and watch it with you.
Your cats can watch it with you. They can also dance along to the songs as they
Right?
climb all over your, I was going to say lounge room. Oh god. Living room. I'm just too Australian for this show, I swear.
You can do lounge room. We're making a lounge room today. It's fine.
Lounge room. I lounged around in my lounge room and watched cats. It was great. Alrighty, well, we're rounding out this episode of Terrible Tuesday Movie Night. We're going to wrap up here by giving this movie a score. On this season, we're not giving it any particular name, but the rating scale is the same. God, it was a different time back in 2013 when I first did this show. We're going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being absolutely garbanzo, like you would go to the actors and actresses' houses and write them a letter. A cease and desist letter, if you will, from striking their movie from the record. Or an absolute 10, and you would write them a letter, I don't know why I'm obsessed with letters all of a sudden, write them a letter demanding that you will pay them $20 million to make the movie again. Exactly how it is. Rachel, what would you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? What would be in your letter?
I'd probably say a 7. Once I get past my one major issue, which unfortunately is Rebel Wilson's cat, and the cockroaches, and I can enjoy most of it. Like I said, there's a couple tweaks that still kind of make me go, why'd you do that? But it doesn't break it for me.
Right. I too am going to give this a 7. I'm glad you said 7, because I was a bit worried I was going to go low. But I'll give this a 7. It did resonate with me on a lot of the personal growth stuff that just happens to be happening to me. Happens to be happening? Wow. Oof, English. It seems to be happening right now in my current, at the time of recording this, life. But if I put that aside and just outside of that, I know the slow pace is part of the original source material, but
yes,
it's a movie, so you can tweak that a little bit. The music is spectacular, but the acting outside of them singing, apart from that one line about the "is he nuded" line, I didn't like the dialogue at all. It just was very...
It was unnecessary. It wasn't in the original, if I remember correctly. There was like maybe 15 words through the whole original, so it was too much talking. I'm like, just sing to me. I don't want to hear you. Just sing to me.
Yeah, I know you're a comedian, but you just start singing. Sing that song I like so much. That's a callback. Then you'll get that once we get to this episode. I watched that's a Troll 2 reference. We watched that this season.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's been a rough season, so this is a breath of fresh air if I ever had one. So
Did you put yourself through that, sir? Why?
Well, 7 it is. All right, Rachel. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast.
It's been wonderful. It's been a long time since I've been doing this, so maybe I'll get my head on straight if I'm not working 2 jobs all summer and do something else with my life.
Hey, there you go. Can people find you out on the internet at all, or is there somewhere that you would want fans to go to, or just to leave comments?
I do still have my Twitter account, and I've actually gasped on my Twitter account, which is Gemini with 2 eyes, Angel. Good
deal. Alrighty, we're going to head on out of here. You can follow my many Instagram adventures over on my Instagram at TheDaleCamber. That's TheDaleCampbell. You can join the conversation once we go offline at bit.ly/Dale Discord. You can support this by buying some merchandise. You can rock this beautiful Dale t-shirt that I'm wearing that you can just visualize in your mind at bit.ly/GLS.
So lovely.
So lovely. It's so soft. Do you want to feel it? Yeah.
A beautiful shade.
It's a gorgeous.
Compliments your eyes beautifully.
Color. As I look down to see what color it is. You can email the show with any feedback as well. You just make sure you put Terrible Tuesday Movie Night, TTMN, cats, or what's this week's random object that I'm looking
50.
at? 50.
Oh, random object.
50. You put 50 in the subject line, and we'll see what it is.
I literally have a jar of F's in front of me.
Yeah, put jar of F's in the subject line, and we'll read it out on a feedback episode of Terrible Tuesday Movie Night. Next week, this season is coming to a close. So, Rachel, you're the final guest of the season. There you go. Yeah.
I got the special spot.
You got the special spot. Staying Alive is next week's movie. But until then, I've been Dale Campbell, and she's been Rachel, coming at ya. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Whoops. Okay, now we're done.